What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I did actually manage to catch this week 2 usdjpy trades for a total of around 6.5R, which I did end up sending to my free trading and signals group as well. So I thought I'd just go ahead and break those down for you guys because they were two very nice trades. We caught the sells down to our buy zone, and then we had a buy which I closed a little bit early due to NFP, but we still managed to secure a nice 3.5% on that one as well. So if I take you to the charts now, we'll get into the breakdown. Guys, so before I get into the breakdown, I just wanted to show you proof of entry, and that I did send this to the free signals group before it happened, and I'll also leave a link to this group in the description below. So if you guys want to copy all of the trades that I take, all centers limit, so you always get the same entry as me, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But if we go into the first trade, so you can see this was on the 3rd of April, and this was the original sell limit. You can see in the sort of the middle right hand of the screen that the timer is on there as well. So this isn't bar replay or anything like that. So that was the sells. As you see, they ran very nicely. And then price did end up coming into our buy limit as well. We set this buy limit just here, and then you can see it got tagged in here. The entry was retested, and then I said to close for around 3.5% because we were coming up to NFP. Excuse me. We were coming up to NFP, and the market was a little bit slow today because it was bank holiday. So I just decided to close early and secure the profits because I never hold through any very high impact news like that. So yeah, let's get into the breakdown. We go here. I'll get up a clean chart because that one is a bit messy. And we'll rewind to the beginning of the week. So when I sat down to do the Sunday analysis video that I do every week for the free signals group, price was at this point in time. And what I had noticed is that, so at this point, price had taken this wick here. I was anticipating price to come a little bit lower into this area of daily demand just down here, but we didn't quite reach it. Instead, we took this daily liquidity. And after taking that liquidity, price did come up, fell to hold this area here, which was a crucial level of structure for me. Is the most recent level of structure because it's the most recent lower high. We also had this area of supply just in here, which you can see price gave a small reaction from, but then ultimately ended up breaking through it. So overall, my bias for the week was bullish, but the buy level that I had was all the way down here. So I kind of wanted to catch the sells down as well if the market presented an opportunity, which it did. So that was the thoughts behind the overall directional bias behind the trade. So we had market took liquidity, broke structure, left this unfilled imbalance down here. As you can see, this is a very nice area of demand. That price did not come back and retest. It was also the area of demand where you could say the move that broke structure and caused supply to fail originated from. So after this sell candle here, we just had this series of bullish candles, which were inefficient because they left imbalance. And ultimately, price came up and failed to hold this supply from this level. So in my opinion, that was a very high probability area to buy from if we had a valid confirmation. But what I also did notice was that we had a couple of very clean levels of supply immediately above. So if you followed the channel for a while, you know I sometimes talk about this as a fake change of character. So when we have price breaks the most recent structure in the trend, but this is not a change of character, price will sometimes just simply come to the supply above the most recent lower high and then continue its downtrend from there. This then being just used as liquidity for price to continue in the direction that it was already headed in. So that's why I mark up the area of supply just above the most recent lower high. And if price does react from that level, then I'd probably not consider it as a valid confirmation because I'd want to also see that level of supply fell as well, which is why we didn't go in aggressive at this zone. I waited for the confirmation. But anyway, we had this very clean level of supply just above the lower high of the trend. So we have liquidity being taken out. And now all I did was go to the lower time frames and wait for that breaker structure as confirmation. So now I was focusing on this bit of trend and price action here. It is only an internal trend. So yeah, so when you're looking for these confirmations, you obviously have you obviously have the overall trend like this. But when we're looking for the confirmations, we're looking for the internal changes of structure. So go into the 1 hour, which is where this trade was based. I waited for price to play out a little bit. And what I saw, once price came into this level, we got this initial push down. Lots of people probably would have seen this as the change of character and maybe entered from this high. But then price came up, took out this liquidity here, very impulsively moved back down. And we also got a breaker structure when price took out this low and failed to hold the demand. Another good confluence that gave me confidence in this trade as well was that price did close below the bodies of this demand. It didn't close below the wick, but a lot of the times wicks are just manipulation. So sometimes I like to just use the bodies. And in this case, price very cleanly closed below the bodies. So that further validated this trade for me and suggested that price wanted to move further down and didn't want to just take out this level, react from the demand below and continue its move up. So as for areas to enter from, I basically at the time saw two levels. So this one here, very obvious level of supply that broke structure and left behind this imbalanced area as well. We did also technically have this area of supply just above. If I change the color of this, one sec. So yeah, we technically had this one above as well, but based on the momentum of the price, I wouldn't expect price to come all the way back to here at this point in time. It may do so in the future, but based on these very impulsive moves down, if price didn't react from this level, I would expect it probably just to continue up and break this level anyway. So I wasn't focused on that one. I was just focused on this one. And since we have all of our confluence already in place, we have 4 hour area of supply. Price gave us a confirmation on the 1 hour, and we have this very nice level of supply to enter from, which fits my criteria for areas of entry, which are that basically it's in a premium of the leg. This leg here being the current leg of the trend that I was focused on. This is in a premium because it was above the 50% of the leg. It created inefficiency, and we also have liquidity grab above, so price doesn't really need to come back up here and take this liquidity. It already did so. So at this point, I simply just set the limit like this. And I think we had around a 39 pip stop. And I was originally targeting this 4 hour area of imbalance, which is also our buy level. So actually one thing I forgot to do, we will mark on this as the change of character. So remember that our overall bias is bullish. So this area here, the reaction from this level here, in my opinion, or based on my bias, was simply a pullback to our area for then further buys. So I wasn't looking to target lower than that. But anyway, if we see how the trade played out, price came back into the zone, initially gave the push down, then came back up again, almost took us out. But then news kind of pushed the trade down into our favor. And then playing it on a bit, it just kind of messed around for a little bit and then came into our buy zone for a very nice 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio trade. I did notice after that we could have got a better entry, because if we look and go on the 30-minute or the 15 even, we could have actually refined that 1 hour supply to the 15-minute and got a much tighter stop loss. However, I didn't see that at the time. And also I didn't really just want to miss the trade for an extra couple of percentage or so. So now that price is in our buy area, we can delete all of this and just focus on this bit of price action. So we've got a 4-hour break of structure. Price has come back into our level. One thing price also did as well, we had this liquidity built, which is one of my criterion for a point of interest that I want to look at potential positions from, is that price generates liquidity above or below the supply and demand area. Otherwise, it's not valid for me. So we did have that checked off, and that validated this area for me. But like I said, we needed a confirmation entry. We didn't just want to go in aggressive on this trade. So the confirmation was based on the 5-minute price action. So we play it out a little bit. So at this point in time, you can see price was printing lower lows and lower highs. We came lower low, lower high, lower low, but then price actually ended up creating a higher high, a higher low, and then a higher high again. So what we can do at this point is that, anticipate that price will create a higher low. And the sort of difficult part now is just predicting or reacting to where price is likely to do so. And this is where the obviously the strategy and the risk to reward plays a big part. So if we just mark on what we can see at this point in time, we obviously have the change of character or break of structure. Also, crucially, after price, the change of character occurred after price had actually taken out these equal lows. So this again gave me confidence in taking the trade because price shouldn't need to come any lower. It has already taken out the early buyers who would have probably just had buy limits at this level. Remember, I said some traders go in aggressive from these levels, so this sort of early reaction is probably them, early buyers, and then ultimately price comes back, takes them out first of all, and then pushes higher, break structure. And we also came almost to the complete fill of this zone, so that tells me that as well that this is not likely to be inducement and price shouldn't need to head lower. So at this point, zones that I was looking to enter from, I had basically two marked out. So we had this area, 5-minute, inefficient. It's an inefficient demand within this 5-minute range. We also obviously had this one down here, which was already tapped. So that was the basis behind me entering on this top one. But I did just have the stop loss below this area as well to be safe. So yeah, it was as simple as that. We waited for price to come into our 4-hour level. We waited for the break of structure on the 5-minute. The reason I used the 5-minute as well was just simply because the 15-minute was quite ugly at the time. Normally, I don't really like to go 5-minute or lower, but in this case, price kind of just happened to set up really nicely. So again, we were entering on this zone, but I had the stop loss below this zone in case price wanted to come down and retest that as well, which ended up being a good idea because that's exactly what price did. And then as for targets, what I saw was that we had this sort of trend line here, which in my opinion looked too good not to be taken out. And I also noticed that we had this area of 15-minute supply resting directly above. So at this point, we just set the limit and let the trade play out. And as you see, when price tagged this in, it did come to the bottom zone. So we could have had a better entry here like this, and that would have been a 1-13. But as I said, I don't like missing the trades just for the sake of an extra few percentage. I was happy with 6%. That's a very good return in my opinion. And yeah, we just let it play out after that. One thing I didn't see at the time, we could have gotten quite a nice re-entry. So once price had broken structure once again, so this was our initial change of character. This was the higher low. Price came up, created a higher high, higher low, higher high, breaking this structure here and also failing to hold this demand, this supply, sorry. And we did leave behind. We make this smaller. We have this area of liquidity here. And what do we have below? We have inefficient demand just here. So we could have got a re-entry at this point. However, because it was at sort of the same point as the initial entry, I wasn't going to place a scale in, because then I would be risking 2% on this trade rather than 1. If I do ever scale into trades, it will be because I am moving the initial trade stop loss to break even, but obviously I can't do that in this case because both trades have the same entry point. But that ended up being a very nice second entry as well. As you see, price came and tapped it to the pip. It looks cleaner on the 30-minute. Actually, we have this very nice area of supply, inefficiency here, liquidity above. Very simple trade. So if you missed the initial entry, you could have got an entry there as well. And then today, price did end up coming up. Now, if we play this on a higher time frame, it came up and just about hit the take profit. Hasn't done so quite yet, but I am anticipating that price will come a little bit higher first. It has no reason to reverse from where it is at the moment. And personally, I think next week we will see this high taken out for price to come into this area for our supply. Potentially then for sells back down to that daily level that I talked about, which price did end up missing. This wick here kind of looks like inducement for me. So I do think price still has to come a bit lower into this level before we see any major buys up to this level up here at 138. But yeah, that was the basis behind the trade. The trades that we took this week, I only took these 2, and that was it for the entire week, finishing the first week of April with 6.5% gain on the account. And obviously I'll send them to the free signals group, completely free. If you guys want to get involved with that, the link will be in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.